You are listening to High On Sci-Fi with your host, Kyle Borrego.
About 50 feet away from the cockpit. Guys,
he said cock.
Crazy.
Cock.
I don't want to say I don't believe because I don't want them to come prove me wrong.
We heard it.
Exactly.
He said cock.
I'm with you. And by the way, think about every person who thinks they've seen something up in the sky. These are just the military confirmed ones.
Did you hear that though?
I'd like to go
Saying
back
those
to,
were
like,
the videos they
think that
released
this
are the
isn't real.
least compelling.
I'd like to be happy in my ignorance.
They're pretty damn compelling.
I mean, one of those I've seen a few times, and they were saying in the video, I mean, you could see this object just accelerating and turning incredibly fast, and looks like it's turning on a dime. But they were saying in some of the other videos, they have videos of these objects like accelerating past past the speed of sound, and not breaking the sound barrier or anything like that. Just wow.
For everybody that's listening, we just watched the new video that the Pentagon released of the new UFO sighting, and it seemed to be a triangular shape spacecraft hovering and blinking is what it kind of looked like. Do you think that the possibility of transdimensional being, like interdimensional beings, like having the ability to go through wormholes from different universes coming here and observing us, do you think that could be a possibility?
I just don't understand. I don't understand how they could get here otherwise, unless, even if they're traveling at the speed of light.
Yeah.
Take 40 years to get here from the nearest, other star system.
And that's if it's populated
Yeah.
by intelligent life.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows where the nearest forms of intelligent life could be? It could be in a completely different universe, or not universe, galaxy.
Yeah.
And those galaxies are thousands, if not millions of light years away from us, billions of light years away, some of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you wouldn't be able to get to us because these galaxies are traveling faster than the speed of light, even if they did have the ability to travel at the speed of light. I mean, we talked about this last week. You wouldn't be able to catch up, to these distant galaxies.
Yeah, because they're moving faster than that away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't necessarily buy into the fact that, and I certainly believe in extraterrestrials, ability to fly and come visit us. But I just don't think they're operating on the same kind of level that we're thinking of as far as traveling from point A to point B. Traveling from our home planet to Earth, in a straight line or whatever that is. That can't be unless, their lifespan would have to be way longer. Is it worth traveling that far? Say they live, as long as, say their life expectancy is the same as ours, 70, 80 years. And, say they are traveling at the speed of light. That's 40 years. That's half their life just getting to our planet.
Well, half of our lives, maybe, but who knows how long their lifespans really go.
Right.
I mean, if we want to get into some Star Trek shit, Vulcans live for hundreds of years without really aging that fast.
And you think just as our technology grows, our life expectancy gets longer.
Oh, yeah.
So, who's to say that, these ultra advanced civilizations, their life expectancy hasn't, grown considerably, and maybe they started off the same as ours,
Yeah.
But it just doesn't seem sensible to travel the way we're traveling right now for them to visit us. Maybe they are, but to spend, 40 years traveling to Earth, are we that important to them?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe to see how stupid we are, to get a good laugh.
They know.
But like when people say, oh, they come down here and mine our resources, I've been watching a lot of space documentaries, and they made very valid points on why aliens wouldn't come down on Earth is because, like, all the resources that we have here on Earth are super easily obtainable off asteroids. Like these asteroids are just like littered with these elements like platinum, gold, like these heavy diamonds.
Yeah.
These heavy elements that a super massive star, when they blow up, that's what they create. They create like these, precious metals. And, as far as water goes, I mean, water is just littered in asteroids. I mean, there's theories on the way we got our water was from asteroidal impacts.
Yeah. And I buy into that.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, and they've pretty much confirmed that there is water in asteroids. So, I mean, the only reason why they would come here is to just basically observe and study. Kind of how we go to like, the Amazon and study, these tribes that are forgotten, these ancient tribes that have been around forever, and we want to go check them out. We want to learn about them, or like animals or something like that. We could just be like another form of livestock to them.
Yeah, I think you're right. And a more cynical person could say, oh, these extraterrestrials or some of these civilizations are hell-bent on just ruling and destroying each planet. And I feel like once you've gotten to whatever advances they've made in technology, they couldn't have got that far if their MO was destroying and conquering. I feel like at some point you got to find enlightenment in that.
Yeah, especially in, they don't even know who they're going to be dealing with.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of like if we were to get in a fight, like we don't know who we're dealing with, and we don't know what they're capable of doing. Even if they're like a small little dude, they could know some crazy Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills and just be like a second-degree black belt, but we're thinking because we're bigger and badder than them that they could beat our asses. But, well, no, probably not, because that little dude's a second-degree black belt.
He's been training.
Yeah, he's been training, and he'll be able to run circles around your fat ass, all right?
What is that movie, The War of the Worlds, where, a highly sophisticated race comes and, takes over Earth, and then they end up dying all basically because of disease or infections that they got from this planet. So I thought that was pretty believable. I was like, you know what, you don't know, let alone what defenses they have or ability to fight back. But what if you get on that planet and all of your advances in technology wasn't able to detect the flu virus, and whoops, the flu virus is, going to wipe every one of these aliens off the, off the planet. As soon as they step foot, they're like, oh, dead.
Or like off Signs. Remember Signs?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Signs.
Their weakness was water.
Yeah. So who knows, maybe one of our, could be something pretty simple. One of our artificially flavored sodas or something is just like the absolute, enemy to these guys. So
yeah, they're like, ugh, you guys have fucking seltzers? That's our worst enemy.
No,
you have plenty of them. You have plenty of seltzers.
We did not anticipate their love for seltzer.
Me and Bo, when we were talking about Signs, we were talking about like, okay, these aliens, their immunity is water. Like they can't handle water, or their immunity. How do you say that?
I would just say their kryptonite.
Yeah, their kryptonite is water, and like instead of like shooting them with guns like the military, they're just handing out super soakers.
It's like
all right, go get them, boys.
Remember Ernest Scared Stupid? You ever watch those Ernest movies?
Mm-mm.
Ernest Scared Stupid. They got like it's like the Halloween Ernest movie, and they got a troll problem. We got trolls that turn little kids into wooden statues, and turns out they don't like milk, and so all the kids go and like fill up their super soakers with milk, and you just spray these trolls, and good to go. So it could be milk, could be anything like that. So I do like our odds as far as everything we have on this earth, that one of those things an alien's going to die from.
Yeah, we're pretty smart. I mean, we could figure shit out. I mean, like, but I don't think in our lifetime, I like to stay optimistic, and I like to think about Star Trek. And if we do find this rare and unique ability to be able to travel to these distant planets that have life on them, that another more advanced intellectual and technology-wise species comes down and they give us guidance. They're like, hey, listen, we're here to help you out, okay? Because there's some motherfuckers out there that they don't give a fuck who you are. They're just gonna take a big shit on your chest, okay? And that's, nobody wants that.
You thought the Empire was bad. Wait till you meet these guys.
Yeah. So, but until then, I don't see, these aliens that we're seeing, all this footage that's coming out, like it could very well be footage of alien craft. But like I said, I don't think they're here to harm us. If I were to think if this is real, okay, which I do think it's real. I mean,
it's some of those are just straight up footage from a plane, what is it, F-16?
Yeah.
It's just straight up, raw footage from, and the government has validated it. I don't see the government, as shady as they could be. I'm not sure why they'd be like, oh, this is real. Oh, but it's not real.
And another thing too is like, there's nothing that we make that is capable of doing these maneuvers. Like,
yeah,
they're going from like, whatever, like 8,000 feet down to sea level in like the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
And that's fucking bananas. Like, we don't have anything like that. Do we have anything like that?
No. Stopping on a dime there. I mean, it's...
And then rotating.
Yeah.
Like slowly.
Splitting. You saw that one that like went underwater and then came back up and split into two?
Yeah.
That was pretty badass. I think going back to like traveling long distances in space, I think one of the things that made most sense to me, one of the most believable things I've seen in like a sci-fi futuristic show was the Altered Carbon. It's on Netflix. Like, it's basically they've figured out a way to find the human consciousness, and they're able to download it and have it in these things that they call stacks, and they stay in the back of your neck. Your whole body could be destroyed, but as long as a stack is intact, you could put it in a new body, and it's you, just, it's your consciousness, and you're just put in a different body. And so they've inhabited, the entire galaxy in this show. And the way that they travel is they download their consciousness to another body on that planet. And granted, I think you'd still need to make that initial travel, however long that is, say it takes 300 years to get, to another solar system with life or a habitable planet. Once they get there, then you're able to just download yourself to another body there. That seems a little bit, I guess, I wouldn't say realistic, but it seems I could buy into that a little bit more. But how fast does Wi-Fi work in space? How fast that signal?
Yeah, that is an interesting thing to think about, that you can upload your conscious into a different body.
Yeah.
Or a robot. Robots are forever.
Well, and this Altered Carbon, they're, they pay extra for these like beefcake bodies, and guys want to be girls and pay extra for that, and girls want to be guys and pay extra. And
what would you want to be?
Oh, I would be one of the, every single day I'd want to be something different.
Something different every single day.
At least a different person, I don't know.
Let's say you can only pick one.
And it's very expensive. In the show, it's like only the ultra rich are, having bodies, able to. And
the privileged.
It's the privilege, and the government has this program. Will say you got like killed by a drunk driver, and your stack is intact. The government will pay, will put you in a new body. But for instance, like this in the show, this little girl is like killed. I don't know. We'll say she's killed by a drunk driver. The government says, yeah, we'll give you a new body. But this little girl, her new body was like a 50-year-old man. And they're like, you get what you get.
This is what we got, man.
This is the government,
Yep, sorry.
Out. Yeah. So that's what you get with that. But yeah, it's crazy. Also, people like collect these stacks. So, their body dies, but they keep the stack in hopes that one day they'll have like a new body to put it in. But it like in Mexico, you know, they have like Dia de los Muertos, where they say like your family comes back, you know, once a year and you're able to hang with them. So they take it like a step further and they'll pay for these rental body. You get like a body for a day and you could put a relative stack in this rental body for a day. So on Dia de los Muertos, you get some, you know, it's your great great grandma putting some like, you know, big dude's body for a day because that's all you could afford, but they're literally back hanging with you for a day.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's cool. I totally recommend it. There's 2 seasons, Altered Carbon. It's cool. But
Yeah, I'll check it out. I want to start watching The Expanse soon.
I hear good things.
I hear good things too. I need to fucking get on it. Dude, there's so much to watch. It's hard to. I mean, I do watch the same shit over and over again, but it's what I'm comfortable with. Like,
It's
just like we just finished watching What We Do in the Shadows.
And that's a class. I mean, you got to go back to that.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
There's some shows that are really good, but you really only need to watch each episode once, and you're like, okay, you know,
Yeah.
I don't. That's an incredible show, but I don't necessarily want to go back and rewatch it.
Right.
It feels like a waste of time. Yet here we are watching The Office for the 5,000th time, and What We Do in the Shadows and everything else. So it's the easy watching we go back to.
I like things that can make me laugh.
Yeah.
Things that I can zone out to. You know, something that I don't have to use my brain for, because I have to use my brain for so many other fucking things. I just want to zone out and have a good time and laugh.
Yeah, because sometimes you're watching a really good show, never seen before. It can be exhausting following along,
Yeah.
thinking, just using your brain. What's going to happen? What about this guy? Oh, what happened to this guy? Well, wait, didn't this happen? But, you know, some of those other shows you're watching, it's like, I remember what happened. I didn't miss anything as I went and cooked dinner while it's still playing.
Right.
It just feels good.
Yeah. Yeah, man. As far as like that new alien sighting goes, like, what do you think? Do you think it's real? The triangle one.
I think the the footage is real.
Okay.
What it is, it's hard to say. It's not a fucking bird. I don't know what the hell that is. And, you know, they're clearly, you hear the pilots on those videos and they're like, holy fucking shit, what the hell's going on?
Well, I feel like a lot of pilots, if they're pilots for long enough, they'll come across something that's funky.
Yeah.
That they can't identify.
Yeah.
I think that's a common thing. It's just they don't say anything because they don't want their reputations ruined. You know?
Same with astronauts. There's a big group of astronauts that all have stories that they can't explain. And those are some smart motherfuckers. You're, you know, an astronaut, you're a scientist that's going into space. And to say, hey, I saw some unexplainable shit. I kind of like want to hear a bit more about that. Like,
Yeah, but they won't say anything because they want to be able to go back in space again. They don't want to.
They don't want to be deemed unfit.
Yeah, they don't want to sound like a fucking crackpot, you know. So I get it, but like when they're older, they're coming out and be like, "I saw some shit. I was masturbating in the ISS, and right as I was about to blow my load, I saw that craft outside my window with a pair of binoculars. He was watching me the whole time, drinking my gherkin.
I didn't stop either.
I finished,
You know what it's like jerking off in space.
let alone jacking off to an alien. It's one of the most exhilarating loads I've ever had.
You can't get off after that.
I thought I was going to bust a hole through the hole. We're all going to die from that magnificent load that I unleashed.
Space orgasms. Once you have a space orgasm, you can't go back.
Do you think they jerk off on the ISS?
I mean, absolutely. In the history of space travel, it has to have happened, mainly because there has to be one person that's like, I need to do this.
I need to know.
I need to know. But my question is, has there been sexual intercourse in space?
Okay, so now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's impossible to jack off in space. It's because your blood doesn't flow the way it's supposed to.
Your blood's different.
Yeah, your blood.
It's a little different, huh?
Yeah, your blood flows slower than it's used to because it doesn't have gravity to work with. So it pumps a lot slower. So I think getting a boner is impossible in space. Now I'm thinking about it.
My mind's going to some bad places right now.
Yeah, I gotta do some more research.
What if someone has deeply researched this and they're like, you know what? The only way to get off in space is to tie a belt around your fucking neck. I don't condone it on Earth. I do not condone it on Earth, but if you're in space orbiting and you're trying to bust that nut, autoerotic asphyxiation is the only way. I'm sorry. Again, I do not condone.
You just go on the news and like just shoots this astronaut. He's got a belt around his neck.
He's got this big purple bruise around his neck.
He's floating in space, just bobbing around the walls, hung by his... That'd be so fucking funny. I mean, it'd be sad. I'd be like, at least he tried. He gave it his all, man.
That is some research. That is a dedicated person there, trying everything.
Oh fuck.
Yep, there's Stuart over there doing his space masturbation research.
I bet you they have tried it for that reason. Like, can you get a boner in space?
So yeah, if you break it down to just the simplest question, can you get a boner in space?
Let's Google that. Because I'm pretty sure you can't. Because I think the blood flow, it just doesn't work.
I feel like you could. It's just determination.
Well, determination, unless you have the right tools. Like if you had access to Viagra, maybe?
Internet access, Pornhub.
Yeah. Oh, they're right next to satellites, so that should be no problem.
Pornhub's strong in space.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
got a great
signal.
connection.
Like,
I got the highest, fastest connection to Pornhub in space, but I can't get a boner. It truly is hell.
See, it won't even bring up the rest. I know it's been Googled a billion times, but it won't come.
You know that has been Googled. You are not the
yeah.
first person to Google, can you get a boner in space?
So here it is. Now, it's still possible to achieve an erection in outer space. It's just that much more difficult. Limited data also suggests that testosterone levels drop in space, which may contribute to erectile dysfunction. So
it's a determination thing.
I think if you took Viagra and under the right environments, like if you had some babe of an astronaut up there with you who's like willing to get down with the freakiness, like, yeah.
Could you imagine Viagra in space alone?
Ooh. Yeah, I can imagine it.
It's like Event Horizon. You accidentally went to hell. Took your spaceship to hell. I took Viagra. I can't get a boner, but this is awful.
What if you take Viagra, but you get a boner, but it lasts for, instead of like a few hours, it's like a few weeks?
I mean, you're in space. What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
I feel like if there's one place to have that problem.
Plus, like, you got to really track your load. Because, oh, dude, could you imagine?
True.
Like, you'd feel like such a man with the distance that you would get from beating off a load and it shooting out. And then, like, it just keeps going. You're like,
but then you lose it. You lose it. And you've got these loads floating around. You're like, I know there's somewhere. And then, you're on the ISS and you have new astronauts show up and, it's people are getting on. You're like, there's still these loads floating around. I have no clue where these loads are. Someone's going to find it. Someone's just going to be sitting there and just right on the cheek.
It just
and you're
comes
like,
out of nowhere.
That's space goo. Yeah.
It's ectoplasm. It's so fucking funny.
Shit.
I'm glad I talked about this.
That's what it would be. Someone with Viagra in space would just be, floating around in this fucking pod and just loads just freaking floating everywhere. It's like a snow globe.
All right, so this raises the question, if you are able to go into space, what's the first thing that you're going to do once you get in space?
I mean, I think we're going to jerk off, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that absolutely. 100%.
As soon as we get into orbit, I'm like, I need to go to my room. I need to clean my room. No one bother me while I'm cleaning my room.
The first thing I would say as soon as I docked with the ISS, I'd be like, move aside, people. I got science to conduct. And I just go into my own little area.
In the name of science.
Yep.
What magazines do you have?
There's jizz everywhere. I'd be like, I don't know. There's a spooky space ghost. It's ectoplasm.
You've seen Ghostbusters? This is exactly what happened.
There's ghosts on this space station.
Don't worry about the smell. It's what ectoplasm smells like.
Somebody tastes it. It's salty with a smidge of pineapple. Be like, God damn, those ghosts.
It tastes so familiar.
Some girl tastes it. Why are you putting that in your mouth, man?
I want to eat the ghosts.
That's good stuff. I fucking love it. I love those conversations so much.
Now all I can picture is some astronaut floating around in space, and you got the space view where you're like looking through the one window in the spaceship, and you just see this guy floating around, just loads, just floating everywhere.
Well, you remember The Last Man on Earth, right?
I love Last Man on Earth.
Exactly. So his brother's in space on the space station.
Those little caterpillars.
Yeah, with those little caterpillars. And, I mean, he's up there for months, right? Yeah, he's up there for quite a long time.
I mean, yeah, I feel like when he was up there for a year or two. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you'd have to imagine he's tried to blow off a lot of loads.
Especially a guy like Jason, what's his name? Jason Sudeikis?
Yeah, Sudeikis. Yeah.
He'd be jerking up there.
Oh, dude. 100%.
Yeah.
I'd be jerking up there even if nobody had died on Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got science to do.
You could pay for that now.
How hard do you think it would be to have sex?
I mean, probably hard, but how fun could it be? You
need
get in this position where you're just like 69ing in a constant somersault. You just turn into this like spinning yin yang, you know?
Do you 69 nowadays? I don't.
My back just can't.
That's like that's some middle school shit. I feel like once you figure out sex, it goes 69.
And that's like the first thing you hear about.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
it is one of the first. I don't do it. But I'm a get it done, get out of there kind of guy these
we got
days.
Stuff to do.
Yeah, we're busy. We got to get to Home Depot soon.
You know,
let's get it done.
Closes at 9.
Let's knock this bitch out real quick.
69 is tough. You got to take off all your clothes, right?
Yeah,
or most of it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard work.
Tough. Who does that?
I would imagine to have a successful sexual experience in space, you would need some like Velcro shoes to brace yourself on the walls.
Duct tape, bare minimum.
You know, because you can't. It'd be. I mean, I guess you could be in midair, floating in space, grabbing at the hips and just like.
Yeah, I feel like you could clap
like
cheeks
that.
even harder in space.
Yeah, there's not as much gravity and resistance to work with. So I mean, for certain positions, you know, and if you want to, because you might bump your head, you know, that's gonna hurt.
Spaceships aren't soft.
No,
you look in there. There's these like metal things sticking out all over the place. Yeah. You're gonna cut your head open.
That's what I'm gonna name this. Can you blow a load in space? That's what I'm gonna name this episode.
The first load blown.
Blowing loads in space.
Blowing loads in space.
That's what
truly
it's gonna
the
call.
final frontier.
Yep.
we need to reach out to some astronauts.
Yeah. That's gonna be one of the first things I'll ask a astronaut that I meet that has been on the ISS.
Be honest with me. How many loads did you blow in space?
Can you jerk it in space?
He's like, oh yeah.
It's like 110. 110 each day I was there. 1 load a day. That's my motto.
Got this thing called the glory hole. It's a tiny little hole you put in the pressurized chamber. Depressurize it by about 30%. Stick her in.
It depressurizes and pressurizes instantly. It's exhilarating.
You thought a cock pump was cool.
My cock is going to be forever 20 inches long.
It's mutilated. I mean, it's...
I can't use it anymore.
No, it's a massacre down there.
But as far as for space goes, perfect dick for space.
Space glory holes are a thing.
Let's move on.
Well, I mean, that was some interesting material.
Oh yeah, dude. Good
something
stuff.
To think about.
Good.
Something to think about.
Let us know what you think, people. High On Sci-fi podcast@gmail.com. Would you blow your loads in space? Now moving on. to the new Mortal Kombat movie which is coming out this Friday.
Fucking pumped.
Dude, I'm pumped. I was pumped when the first one came out.
I'm still pumped about the first two.
Yeah.
Annihilation was a little less,
Yeah.
but I mean, those are some of the greatest movies of all time. I still have them on VHS.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. And I keep my VHS player.
Who was your favorite?
Scorpion.
Scorpion? Mine was Sub-Zero because he was blue.
I mean that's a close second.
Yeah, because he was blue.
Blue's pretty tight.
Yeah, blue's my favorite color.
Blue's my favorite color.
We're the best friends that anyone could have.
have.
Johnny. So,
Sorry, guy. What's your favorite color? It's not blue.
what do you think Johnny's favorite color is?
I want to say green.
Bitch. All right, moving on.
That's a subcategory of blue, kind of. I guess
so.
blue is.
I'm just giving Johnny as much of a hard time as I can with our friendship because it just really makes him sad.
We need to have him on.
Yeah, we'll have him on.
We'll work through this all.
Yeah,
It's just a misunderstanding.
yeah. We'll work
Johnny
it out.
loves fucking Mortal Kombat too. Let me tell you, the trailer for Mortal Kombat, this one coming out this Friday the 23rd of April.
You mean the movie?
What did I say?
This trailer.
Yeah, the trailer I've seen a bunch
Yeah.
for the movie coming out this Friday, but if this episode airs later, it came out on HBO Max and theaters on April 23rd. But there's this fight scene between Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yeah, dude.
And Sub-Zero makes Scorpion bleed, and then he freezes Scorpion's blood. He freezes Scorpion's blood and then stabs him with it.
It's gonna be a fucking cool movie. Whenever you hear remakes of movies like that, you expect the worst. But judging from what I've seen from the previews, like it looks like a fucking legit badass movie. It's gonna be fucking cool. Liu Kang looks fucking
They all look
badass.
badass. Yeah.
Sonya looks badass.
I haven't seen who's that like quadruple armed Goro.
Yeah, Goro. Yeah, I think you're right.
I wonder, is he in it?
Yeah, Goro's in it. Yeah.
You gotta have Goro in it.
Yeah, it's basically like the original Mortal Kombat. I don't know if they're going to be following like the same storyline.
Probably not. Probably a little tweak,
Yeah.
but it's still. I mean, Mortal Kombat's got that basic line of like this tournament of, people across the world or even further, and they battle to the death.
Well, you look back on when Mortal Kombat came out and you saw their fight scenes. Like their fight scenes were nothing like to write home about. Back then, though, they were cool as fuck. But if you were to watch that now, compared to like the things that we've seen today, like even like the Matrix came out shortly after that, and the Matrix was fucking sick.
You know
as
what?
far as like fight scenes go.
You know what scene? And it popped up on my feed not too long ago, and I watched the whole thing again. But Johnny Cage's fight with Scorpion in that first movie. Do you remember that? It's like,
Oh, where they're in hell or whatever.
yeah.
like the underworld?
First they're like in this forest, and they kind of battle it out for a minute there.
Oh, yeah,
and then
yeah,
Scorpion like opens up a portal and brings them to hell or wherever Scorpion's from.
Yeah.
Could be Florida. It looked warm.
Yeah.
But that was a badass fight scene.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is about it, but again, it probably, watching it doesn't hold up to, some of these incredible, this technology we have in movies now to make things just look insane. But I feel like that fight will always hold up for me. Johnny Cage versus Scorpion in the first Mortal Kombat.
Well, in this one, it kind of seems like they're focusing a lot on Scorpion and Sub-Zero
Maybe that'll just be like the thing.
because it shows them fighting. It did it show them? It didn't show them fighting in the last one. It showed them coming out together, like as like this duo. You know what I mean? In the first one,
because they didn't fight in the
no, they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't fight in the first one. They showed them coming out because it was like the main dude, Kung Lao, right? Is it Kung Lao? Who's like the main bad guy?
The main bad guy. Oh, I know who you're talking
I
about.
can't remember his name.
I could picture in my head
Right.
the actor.
But I'm pretty sure in the original movie he has them come out as a pair. Like, look at these are two of my badass.
These are my boys.
Yeah, because it shows the the get over here thing.
Oh,
come
the
out.
little what? It's kind of like a snake or something
Yeah.
that comes out.
Yeah.
It's a spiky
Spiky
guy.
something that hurts probably
Probably, yeah.
probably painful,
Little sting.
but it comes out of his hand, and it shows Sub-Zero doing his thing. It just shows them doing like what they can do, brief, like on a subtle level.
Sub-Zero makes his snow globe.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh,
It's like, look what I can do.
so pretty. Do you want to build a snowman?
God damn it. But yeah, no, it shows them come out as a pair. But in this movie, it looks like they're actually going to be duking it out.
I
Like
think, I think so. I think that's clear.
Yeah.
I'm going to be watching it this weekend.
I'm going to be watching it 100% for sure.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really seem like they're focusing on Liu Kang too much. You know what I mean?
At least in the trailer, the one that keeps circulating. I mean, he's in it, but in the at least in the first original movie, he's kind of the main dude. I mean,
Yeah.
he's the main guy.
He's like the champion of Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy because who beat Goro? Wasn't it? It was Sonya.
It was either it was Sonya, right?
I think
I was gonna say Johnny Cage, but I think it was Sonya.
it might have been Johnny Cage actually.
Who plays Johnny Cage in this one?
I don't know. Let's pull up the cast because it's either Johnny Cage or Sonya. That's a good question. All right. So the cast. God damn it! It just takes me to Wikipedia.
I feel like Johnny Cage could be. You could put some pretty good actors in there.
Oh yeah.
Johnny Cage.
Oh yeah. Here, let's look up cast. So we have Joe Taslim as Sub-Zero, Jessica McNamee as Sonya, Louis Tan as Cole Young, Sissy Stringer as Melina, Hiroyuki Sanada as Scorpion, Ludi Lin as Liu Kang. See, and they're gonna have Jax in this one too. Jax wasn't in the original
Jax
one.
wasn't in that. Yeah.
And I think how you say his name is Mekad Brooks.
Is there? I mean, I don't recognize any of these names. Is there?
No, a lot of these people are like. I mean, the only one that I really recognize is Hiroyuki Sanada. He's in like The Last Samurai and a few other movies, but he was in The Last Samurai. He was badass in The Last Samurai, which was a badass movie.
Well, I would imagine if they're going for a good Mortal Kombat movie.
Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung is the bad guy, the main bad guy.
Okay.
Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung.
But yeah, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. A lot of these names I can't pronounce. I apologize.
Here's my thought. I feel like in the original Mortal Kombat movies, they didn't necessarily hire people to play, that were skilled in karate and all that stuff. I feel like this time around they're upping their game and they're trying to make it look more real, and probably they've had some actors and actresses that know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, it kind of seems like, just from what I saw in the trailer, that they're more legit in martial arts.
Yeah.
Which people want to see. People want to be convinced that, Sub-Zero is Sub-Zero and Liu Kang's Liu Kang and Scorpion's Scorpion. Like, they want to see some full-on ass kickery.
Want to see some roundhouse kicks to the face.
Yeah, exactly. So put that on your calendars, people. April 23rd. It's going to be fucking cool. It has a runtime of 110 minutes. Not like Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League for 4 hours. This is only a 2-hour movie. Almost 2 hours. Director is Simon McQuoid. I've never heard of Simon McQuoid. But it looks good. It looks really, really good. I'm excited for it.
No, I was always a Mortal Kombat kid growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone had Game Boys. I had the Game Gear. And Mortal Kombat stayed in that game slot forever.
Yeah. My first Mortal Kombat game was for PlayStation. The first PlayStation. And I remember it because we're at Walmart and I was there with my aunt and my cousins. And I had $20 to spend. That's how much it cost for a game back then. It was $20, maybe a little bit more, but I think it was like $20.
And that was expensive.
Yeah, that was pretty pricey. Yeah, but my cousin was like, "You should get Mortal Kombat. We can fucking play Mortal Kombat." Yeah, Mortal Kombat's badass. It looked bad. It was like the horror fight game. Like Street Fighter was kind of
Street Fighter. Yeah, like I played it, but nothing hit as hard as a Mortal Kombat game. In the arcade, you see that Mortal Kombat there.
Get over here.
There was just something about that.
It was more gory.
It was gory. You could get those blood splatters, and early on
fatalities.
I think maybe that's what it was just the guy's already, or the girl is already, hurting, lost the round, and you're just gonna absolutely brutally murder this person with one of your special tricks.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll never forget, and if they bring it up in this movie, that'll be the all-time like Easter egg, is the one guy that comes in and says, "Whoopsies."
Is that when they would hit like a person standing in the crowd or something?
Or no, it was if you caught a person off guard, like with an uppercut. If you uppercut somebody, I think.
I have not thought about that in years, but I can picture this dude coming on my Game Gear going, "Whoopsies."
If they have that come out in this movie, I don't even care if the movie's bad. If that comes out in it at some point, I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
Just give him some awards right there.
The ultimate Easter egg right there. You heard it here first.
All right, I'll be watching for that. If I see that.
But I went to go grab the game, and I went up to the counter, and they're like, "You need someone that's over 18 to buy this for you," because I was young. I can't remember how old I was. And I just went up to my aunt, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, can I get this game?" And she was just like, "Yeah, you can get that game." She played my mom for the day, but she let me get it, and me and my cousins played Mortal Kombat till like fucking 5 a.m, dude. We were up all night playing that game. So yeah, it's definitely one of those games that will resonate with people our age and for everybody else after that, because they've kept Mortal Kombat going throughout the years. I mean, Mortal Kombat 11, I think they're at.
Is that?
Right now.
I was going to ask. Is it still, because it's a PlayStation? I mean, if you're going to find it, you're going to find it on PlayStation still, right?
I think it comes out on Xbox and everything else too.
Does it?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure it does. I don't think it's owned by one console in particular. I think you can get it for anything.
I mean, as much as I love Mortal Kombat and love the nostalgia around it, I definitely, if I'm at a store looking at games, I probably don't notice Mortal Kombat.
Not that one. Not the newer ones. I mean, Tyler, our friend Tyler Sanchez, he's super into Mortal Kombat, and I remember living in the old party house with him. We'd all play Mortal Kombat, and I was just like, yeah, it's not, because I had that like that nostalgia with the old one, and that left its mark on me. But I get bored with games like that,
I'm sure it's better, graphics are better and all this, but it just doesn't slap the same way.
Yeah.
And maybe even if you went back and played the original that you have so much love for, maybe isn't the same.
It wouldn't be
the
same.
But I'll never forget, I had so many moves just in my head. I mean, you think about all the phone numbers we had to store in our heads back then. I knew so many phone numbers when I was a kid. I also knew a lot of Mortal Kombat moves. Yeah. BB, up, down, left, right, pull their tongue out of their throat.
I knew all the fatalities for Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
And it was like, you had to memorize like 8 or 10 buttons, like up, down, left, right, L1, L2, R2, R1.
They weren't easy.
Yeah,
they weren't easy.
Yeah.
But then you like when you were in the process of doing it, it was just like second hand. Sometimes like you finally get that point where it's like finish him, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but you don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah, because then you fuck it up, and then it's just like one little punch. It's a little jab. It's like, psh, yeah,
you win,
victory. Like, dude, no,
God damn it!
I wanted to freeze him and shatter him.
Yeah, fuck. Good times, man.
I'm loving it. I've been counting down the Mortal Kombat since about this time last month when I realized I was like, that's next month.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so if you have HBO Max, get it. I feel like HBO Max is worth it.
Absolutely. HBO Max is 100% worth it. If you're on the fence about keeping a cable provider or anything, and, you know, for me, I'm still into the sports, you know, I got to get my hockey and stuff, but I would have to have HBO Max. You could get rid of the entire cable network, you know, the cable provider. HBO Max is so worth it. And it's not just HBO content. You know?
They have a lot of
I mean, they
movies.
have everything on there. Anything that ever aired on HBO is on there. But they also have Cartoon Network, all the stuff on there, all
Adult
the
Swim.
all the Metalocalypse on there. I mean, they have, you know, all the South Park on there. They have everything, I think, because it's all Viacom or whatever that company is. They have. It is so worth it. I mean, the movies on there are great, and they're always rotating in new stuff, you know, old movies, new movies, and of course this year with the pandemic, they've done the same day it airs in theaters, they put it on HBO Max, which is pretty badass. I mean, I understand, you know, some of the filmmakers are upset about that, and I totally get that, but, you know, with how little people are going to theaters right now, that's pretty awesome.
It's a new day and age, and, you know, these movies are still making a good amount of money without the theaters. I mean, look at Godzilla versus Kong. I mean, I think their budget was like around $300 million.
Did they do all right? I still haven't. I've seen that, and
They made $380 back.
We just
$380 million. Sorry.
We weren't. I haven't been big on the Godzilla and King Kong.
It was cool,
but we were up in the mountains and just happened to be trying to find something on TV, and it was like Kong Skull Island was on, and I watched it with my kids, and it was a good movie. It was very entertaining. John C. Reilly was great, and there's a bunch of other guys that were great in it, and so I feel like before I watch King Kong versus Godzilla, there's a Godzilla movie, right?
Yeah, King of Monsters.
Yeah, so I feel like I need to watch that before, but I keep, you know, on these weekend nights, I keep seeing King Kong versus Godzilla. I'm like, I'm gonna watch that, but I'm like, I'm one of those purists where I'm like, no, I need to see them all the movies that led up to this.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you could probably skip Godzilla, King of Monsters. I mean, and be fine, because realistically, you're only watching that movie for the fight, the fight scenes between the kaijus. Okay, I think that's how you say it. Kaijus.
Who's the kaijus?
The big monsters.
Is that what they call it? Like Kong and Godzilla?
Yeah,
and all
the
them?
kaijus, I think. But yeah, that's all you're really going to see for that. I mean, the human interaction in Godzilla versus Kong was mundane. You didn't need it.
Yeah.
I would have been okay if they just completely wiped all that out and just had the fight scenes. I mean, the only human interaction that was good was that little girl that you see in the trailer. Have you seen the trailer for Godzilla's?
I have. If I have, I can't really think about anything I saw other than the fights.
Yeah,
the fight scenes.
To me, the only good human interaction is there's this little girl. She was deaf, but she did sign language to Kong, and that was really cool how they, you know, did it with Kong with sign language and everything.
Kind of throwback to Congo.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
Amy.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie. But yeah, no, it was that part was cool. But other than that, I mean, I was only in it for the fight scenes. Yeah. It was badass, dude. Kong fighting Godzilla and then Mechazilla. I know you know Mechazilla's in it.
Yeah. So without giving away any spoilers, where does it take place? Are the fights taking place in different locations?
They're different locations.
Are there any urban areas? Or are they mostly jungle?
Well, one of the fight scenes is in the water, in the ocean.
Okay.
The next fight
scene... Can they
scene,
touch? Can they swim? Or
yeah, they swim and they fight on the ships and shit. It was pretty cool.
That's cool.
The other fight scene is with Kong, and he's fucking shit up in the hollow earth. There's hollow earth, like where they travel to the center of the earth, and it's like hollow down there, and it's like this undiscovered, beautiful.
It's where the
crazy
Lord of the Rings are too, right?
Yeah, I guess so. No, that's Middle Earth.
I feel a crossover coming,
dude. At this point, I'd be like, whatever, just bring all the crossovers in, like
Frodo versus Kong.
I just read something that the director for Fast and the Furious isn't opposed to tying it in with Jurassic Park.
Wouldn't that be fun? Is to just get these movies that are so far apart in your mind and have a crossover. We need more crossovers. Just
That would be cool.
Ridiculous crossovers.
That would be cool. I mean, I'm sure we'll see a time where they cross over the DC universe with the Marvel universe. That'll piss a lot of people off, but they could do it. They did it in the comics. It's been done in the comics.
I was going to say,
so.
as little as I know about the comics, I thought that there is a crossover.
Yeah, there is a crossover where they bring them all together. I read the comic. It's been forever, but they bring them into like this alternate universe or this different world, and they have to fight some entity. I can't fucking remember, but I did read that comic series because I had the novel of the comics. But excuse me. But I mean, they could do it. They could definitely do it.
But it'd be fun to see something like Star Trek have a crossover with like Married with Children. Just, it doesn't have to be a deep, storyline. Just a quick little some space debris lands on Earth and it's like in Al Bundy's yard and he's like puts his hand in his pants. He's like, oh geez.
I could see them doing a crossover with Star Trek and Star Wars before I see Married with Children.
Oh, I don't know if I'd be okay with that.
A lot of people wouldn't be okay with that, but I mean, you have to understand that Star Trek takes place here in this galaxy versus Star Wars, which takes place in a galaxy far, far away. So they could maybe bring in like a Star Wars story into,
or just like a quick one of the Emperor's ships is traveling at the speed of light, and they just happen to be in the same place as the Enterprise, and they just collide head to head. And
look, I'm not opposed to it as long as it's well written and I'm entertained.
Has to be well written.
I'm not one that everything has to be canon. I'm not one of those types of people. I just like to be entertained.
Yeah.
And I know it because if I go into a movie and if I fall asleep in that movie, I wasn't entertained.
I have a problem with that because the seats are just too damn comfy now.
Dude.
I am so bad at going to theaters now because the seats fucking recline. I'm sitting there so it's usually already working against me because when I go to the movies these days, it's to take my kids to see a Pixar movie. So granted, there are some good Pixar movies that maybe I wouldn't choose on my own time to sit down and watch, but watching it with my kids, it's still entertaining. But you add a movie where you're not super invested in and then have these insanely comfortable seats, you're not staying awake.
No.
I'm sitting there, my kid's like, Dad, did you see that? I'm like, oh, yeah, it was great.
We have the AMC A-List pass.
What does that give you?
So the AMC A-List pass, it's a pretty sweet deal if you go to the movies enough. Which, if you go to the movies more than twice a month, it's worth it.
I haven't been in a while, since before the pandemic, for sure.
Right. A lot of people, same story. But if you pay $20 a month and you get to see 3 movies a week, it doesn't matter if they're new releases, if they're in IMAX or Dolby, but you get to see 3 movies a week. So that's a total of 12 movies per month. It's a great deal because going to one Dolby cinema movie is like $20. I've said it 100 times on the show, but it's a good deal if you are into watching movies and if you want that experience. Like Dolby Cinema, there's nothing better.
Yeah.
The sound quality is amazing. The seats are super comfortable, and the color for Dolby Cinema, like the theater, the projection itself is great. It's great. You definitely get that. I saw Avengers Endgame in Dolby Cinema, and I couldn't imagine it being watched here because it's one of those types of movies.
Do justice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my problem now, and maybe some people would disagree with this, but during the pandemic, and I fear for a year or two after this, that the overall quality and material, the good movies are kind of on pause right now. We get Mortal Kombat. That's there have been some big movies that have come out where I've been really into, but I feel like it's been way less, especially in the last 6 months, because you're kind of catching up to everything going on pause for the pandemic.
Right.
How long is it going to be? And do you think I'm wrong? Do you think we haven't seen an interruption in quality movies hitting theaters, or what do you think?
I think that's one of those things that will tell in time.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to tell right now. Because most movies, like new release movies, are being streamed. I mean, look at like HBO Max, for example. Like all these big box office movies are coming out on HBO Max and in theaters same day.
Yeah.
You know, I watched Godzilla versus Kong in my house because I can, you know, and if everybody tunes into it, I mean, they'll make their money. I mean, as long as they can pay their actors and pay everybody off with their budget and then make a little bit of money, all is good. Okay. So you kind of gotta, but I don't know. I don't really know the Hollywood industry too well. I mean, Brad might be able to answer these questions better, but I think because the AMC, I mean, people weren't going to the movies, so they created the AMC A-list. But over time, people started realizing and were coming more and more to movies. And that AMC A-list pass started paying off. They started seeing money.
Yeah.
And that took time. So I think over time, with all these movies coming out on streaming, you'll see it develop into like this big multimedia conglomerate over time. But, you know, I think there's that full potential that, you know, we will not see theaters anymore. I mean, it's almost inevitable. It feels like, just because I've gone to the movies, you know, in these recent months, and there's nobody in there.
Yeah.
It's wild. Even for like, we went and saw a new release movie, and it was a big movie. I can't remember what it was, but it was just us and like two other people in there, you know, and it came out like the day before.
Yeah.
Because you could watch it on your fucking TV at home.
See, and that's, you know, I understand that when you're kind of buying in, you know, when you have that option of, do I want to watch this in a theater? Do I want to go through all of that, driving to the theater, paying for overpriced food, or sneaking stuff in, all to watch the same movie you could enjoy at your house and be able to pause it and this and that. My main question is just, do you think the material, the overall quality of movies, I feel like before the pandemic, you know, every weekend, every 2 weeks, there was some, you know, movie coming out that was, you were aware of. I feel like now there's less movies premiering in general. Maybe they're all being filtered through the streaming services, and they could have been big box office smashes, but they decided to filter it through Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime. But it just seems like you don't see all these big trailers on TV right now. And there are some, but
right. Well, I mean, you have the internet too. The internet spreads that shit like wildfire.
Yeah.
I mean, look for example, like look at Wonder Woman, 1984. Okay, that was supposed to be a big movie.
Right.
Huge. And they finished filming before the pandemic.
Right.
Okay, and everybody, that was like a big expected movie that was supposed to come out, you know, shortly after the pandemic happened, and they postponed it, and then they released it on HBO Max. Mm-hmm. But it was still a flop.
It was a flop. I mean, no matter how you look at it, it was a flop.
Horrible. It was a horrible movie. So, I mean, look at that for example. But like Godzilla versus Kong held up. It was what you would expect from a movie like that. Mm-hmm. It was great. And Mortal Kombat, I'm sure it's going to be badass, and that's getting released on HBO Max. Dune is another movie.
I can't wait for Dune.
Dune's going to be fucking sick, and that's coming out on HBO Max, but it looks beautiful. Like, the visuals look great and beautiful in it. So I think, you know, that there isn't a downgrade in movies. They're just going to have to work with budget a little bit better and be more tight about it, you know, and they're still going to make their money back, because people are going to, I mean, dude, I pay so much money a month in all my subscriptions.
Like, same. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have every subscription known to man as far as streaming services.
Same here.
And that's my fear. And I know I've thought about this before, is, you know, we're at this point where these incredible movies, look at all the Marvel movies, some of the newer Star Wars movies, all these movies that cost so much to make, have such an incredible cast, are we going to hit a peak where all of a sudden these incredible movies don't get made anymore because they're just it's a money pit. You don't make your money back because no one's spending that much to watch it. Do the subscription prices start skyrocketing?
We'll see subscription prices start to go up 100%. And that's what they do. Look at Netflix. Netflix started out like $5 a month. Now it's at like
I remember
almost 20.
getting one DVD every 3 days with that. I can't remember quite how much it was, but I'm not like offended when they raise the price. There is a lot of backlash, especially with Netflix, as they've raised the price at least once a year for the last couple years. I feel like that's inevitable. I'm like, look at everything you have, and there's some people that can trash Netflix and say, no, there's nothing on there. I think they're wrong. I think there is so much great stuff, so much great content on Netflix and every other streaming service. I just feel like that's inevitable. And if that's what it takes to continue making these blockbuster movies, then I'm willing to pay for it.
I'm willing to pay for it too.
Yeah.
Because I like to be entertained, as does everybody else. And I think another thing that we're starting to see too is more and more companies like Marvel or Star Wars, and we're seeing Netflix, they've done it already, and I'm sure we'll see it with more and more, but it's series, like week to week, you wait each week for a badass episode of a show to come out, like WandaVision was fucking awesome. It felt like a Marvel movie, but just spread out a little bit,
And I still have a hard time with those, like with The Mandalorian. I'll let it build up 3-4 episodes, and then I'll crush through them, and then let it build up. I like that they don't release it all at once.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I rarely find myself watching each episode as it airs.
But here's the thing. You're still paying for that subscription.
Oh, absolutely.
So they don't care if you're watching it as long as you're still putting out the money for that subscription. And if you do watch it, that's your choice.
Yeah.
They just need people to subscribe to their subscriptions, and that'll bring in enough cash flow, and then boom.
Dude, Disney Plus has been a huge surprise to me. I was sold on just a Star Wars show, Mandalorian. I had no clue what to expect. Little did I know it would be one of my most favorite Star Wars sagas ever, but all this other stuff on there, there's so many movies I haven't watched since I was a tiny little kid that I'll put on for my kids or for me in the background and just revisit them. But you look at, WandaVision, and now they got a new Mighty Duck. I loved Mighty Ducks. Love Mighty Ducks.
Hockey player.
That's what got me going. And now all of a sudden they have a new Mighty Ducks series on there with Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
Emilio.
It's because they got the money, dude.
I'm just sitting here like, wow. Disney Plus brought the thunder. That is no streaming service to pass up. If you think it's just all, old Disney movies and Pixar, you are completely wrong. There is some fire shows on there.
Plus, they're writing things a lot better these days. And they got the technology to create badass visual effects. So, I don't think we'll see a downgrade in movies. I think we're just going to keep seeing it get better and better.
I think you're right. It's just I get scared late at night.
I thought about it too.
Think about it.
Because I'm like, well, if theaters are going to go away and it's all going to be streamed, like, are we going to see like a shit drop off in movies, like in quality? But the more and more shit that I see come out, I'm like, no, I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Speaking of Disney, the new Marvel movie, Shang Chi, released a new trailer, which I'm going to pause the podcast for a second so we can watch it. So be right back. All right.
So
first thoughts.
I'm gonna say it. I don't know where this ties into Marvel.
I never read any Shang-Chi comics.
Shang-Chi hasn't appeared in any other Marvel movies so far, right?
No.
Okay.
This next phase of Marvel is going to be a lot of comic books that aren't like really known by a lot of people, like Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America. Those are pretty popular Marvel characters. But we're going to see these lesser known comic book characters come into play. Shang Chi is in the Marvel universe. I'm not going to sit here and talk about, like I know what the fuck I'm talking about Shang Chi.
I don't know any. I mean, I've never heard the name. I'm sure I have heard the name, but I would not hear that and be like, oh, that's part of the Marvel universe. So I mean, just watching that trailer, it looks like a good movie. Yeah, it looks great, but I would never even think that somehow ties into the Marvel universe. And in that, do you think we are going to see some familiar faces?
Well, I don't know if we'll see any familiar faces, but I did see some familiar things just off first glance from watching that trailer. One of the first things that I noticed was the bracelets that were around his arm that were making his veins blue. Mm-hmm. Those bracelets that were glowing blue.
Right.
It looked like vibranium.
Okay.
Which is from Wakanda.
You would think that they'd have to tie something in. Yeah. And when you watch the whole movie and then you stay for the credits and watch the little sneak, whatever they call it, video during the credits, they usually tie in other characters from the Marvel universe. Right. Is that all we're going to get? Is this standalone story? And then somehow during the credits scene, we're going to get some little Easter egg of oh, there it is.
I'm sure we will. Yeah. I mean, the Eternals will be coming out before this, I'm pretty sure, before Shang-Chi, and I haven't even seen an Eternals trailer yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all ties together. I mean, it's going to have to if they're going to want a big, epic, in-game-esque type of movie in the end.
Are they continuing to build up?
Oh, yeah.
As far as, Endgame and Infinity War, that's not the end of the Avengers.
No. And there's some hints that the Young Avengers are going to be in here, too. This is how masterpieces are made. I mean, if you look at Endgame, that was a masterpiece, but it took a decade to get there.
Right.
Over 10 years.
And when you go back and watch, I had no clue. I liked the Avengers movies, and I think those were the first ones I saw. I probably saw Iron Man 1 and 2 when they first came out. But when you go back and rewatch all these movies, knowing about Endgame, Infinity War, and you see these subtle tie-ins, it's incredible. I mean, they've had this whole storyline in their head for a decade and more, and it's incredible. I love it. I love that.
Well, Kevin Feige and his team, they say they got shit planned out for like the next 5 to 6 years with their plans. Like,
I think I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're 5 to 6 years out. They already got shit planned 5 to 6 years ahead. So they know what the fuck they're doing. I have no concerns about this movie. I like all Marvel things. I have no concerns about it. I'm sure this is going to be its own movie, though, like its own character. But it does have the 7 rings, which is in Iron Man 3, I believe. The 7 rings that you see in there. Uh-huh. So we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see some hints at the old MCU, like with the vibranium bracelets that he was wearing. I mean, I'm pretty sure those were vibranium bracelets. I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah, I mean, it looks badass. I mean, it does look like he has superpowers, and like I said, it could be from that vibranium.
Standalone. Period. It looks like a great movie. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. This is kind of the turn after Endgame. It's kind of the new age in Marvel, and it's not going away.
Sorry, I didn't mean 7 rings. I meant 10 rings.
10 I just want to... You had me at 7, but what am I thinking? Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, probably. I just want to re-clarify 10 rings. Please don't shit on me. Don't send me emails.
Kill him.
I get enough of those already.
Kill him.
But yeah, no, it looks like it's going to be badass. The only thing that was racist about Shang-Chi was, I think his master was named Fu Manchu.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they're going to need to change that up, so I'm sure they do. They're going to allow Fu Manchu in their movie.
They'll clean it up a little bit.
They see, the thing about Marvel, though, is they don't go with the comics, really. They do and they don't. They create their own story because everybody we'll go into the back catalog of all these comics that were made, and it's always something completely different. Like Thanos, the reason why he snapped away half of the fucking universe is so he can get into Lady Death's nookies, okay? He wanted a piece of that kitchen.
I knew it had to be in something.
Yeah.
Had to have been something like that.
It had nothing to do with him bringing balance. He wanted to fuck Lady Death. That's what it was. He was in love with Lady Death, and he did it to impress her. That was the whole reason behind him snapping away half the universe.
That makes more sense now.
Yeah.
Hearing it. It's like, okay.
So they changed that dramatically. So they changed things, and that's the way it is. But they do bring in a lot of things from the comics as well. Mm-hmm. Just not the Fu Manchu part. Leave that out.
I'd be surprised if that made the final cut.
I highly doubt it. So, but yeah, it looks like a good movie. 100%. I'm always 100% for anything Marvel. So.
I was going to say anything Marvel, and again, if I can't stress this enough, I'm not schooled on the comic universe of Marvel. All I really have to base any of my knowledge on is the movies. And any Marvel movie you put in front of me, I know it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah, movie or show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Although and I'm sure this was well known before it aired, but being me, I did not realize this. So Captain America is played by a different actor in
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's John Walker in the comics.
But now they're saying they're gonna. Sorry, the actor's spacing my name. Who's the normal one that plays Captain America? It's
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. I almost said Hemsworth. That's Thor. But and then they're saying Chris Evans is coming back for the next movie that Captain America. Or from what I saw, but that's tough. When they replaced Ed Norton, the Hulk, that made sense, and that was easier to digest.
Right.
A new character, but for Captain America, that was
Captain America is just a title. It's not a person.
So okay, then that makes sense.
I think that's what they're kind of trying to imply.
So that's not the same one I'm familiar with through all the Marvel movies.
Because Sam, the Falcon, he is also Captain America in the comics. So it's just a title.
And that's what I was wondering, because kind of the end of Endgame and all that, or maybe it's Endgame, where Captain America he got to go back and live his whole life with his lady and grow old, and they have that just incredible meme now where he's like, "No, I don't think I will." And you can add that onto anything, and it's glorious. So that would make sense that that it is a new Captain America.
Yeah, there could be multiple Captain Americas. Okay. And I think that's what to do with Iron Man, because his daughter could grow up to be Iron Woman. You know, there's a lot of things that they can do. I mean, they could do whatever the fuck they want to do.
All right, as long as that makes sense. I haven't watched that yet, so forgive me if that was explained within the first 30 seconds of the show.
Yeah, John Walker, he only gains the title of Captain America, like America's new Captain America.
That's okay. I can get on board with that.
So watch the series.
All right,
that's what I'm saying. Because
I got WandaVision up next.
Watch that. You need to catch up, buddy.
I got so much. There's so much stuff to watch.
That's okay. Next time, watch it over this weekend.
We'll crush it.
But you gotta go pick up.
Got a blast.
I'm
watching the gymnastics. Snow. I'm watching the snowfall too.
Oh yeah, fuck! We're getting snow.
It was just raining on the way over here.
Shit.
And snowing now.
We'll drive safe, and tune in next week. We'll be back on next week, and I just interviewed the owner for Mile High Comics. We're gonna try to clean that up for y'all, and but other than that, we'll see you all next week, and hope you enjoyed this episode of High On Sci-Fi. Peace, everybody.
You are listening to High On Sci-Fi with your host, Kyle Borrego.